Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Welcome to the Foul Pole to Foul Pole podcast with your host, Tyler Black. Brought to you by Black Diamond Softball and Fitness. Presented by the Tell Valhalla Project, where heroes live forever.
Hey, welcome back into the Foul Pole to Foul Pole podcast. Like she said, this is your host, Tyler, with Black Diamond Softball and Fitness. Thank you guys for joining me. Recently, I posted on one of the Facebook groups talking about coaching and skills and drills and stuff like that. I put the question out there, like, what is your ideal roster size for any given age group? I know there's a wide range of teams and coaches experience, locations and stuff like that. All kind of plays a role. And what people are used to and what they've done and what they've seen. So I kind of wanted to get just a feel for, different opinions on this, because I know all of us have a different opinion on what the ideal roster size is. And each and every team kind of dictates what that roster needs to be. I saw a great answer to the question. The guy said he had, I think he was rolling 12, and he felt like he had too many. And then at one point he was running like 18 and still needed a catcher. So, numbers are just numbers when it comes to that roster. It's more like making sure you're filling that spot. Now, if we go back and we talk about 8Us and 10Us, those rosters, for the most part, are smaller because we're trying to maximize as much playing time as we can as coaches. So we want to run a smaller roster. We're able to do that because usually at that age, there's not a whole lot of other extracurricular stuff going on during that softball season. You normally are going to run a shorter softball year. Now, I know there's some outliers out there that will play 8U ball 10 months out of the year, which is crazy to me. But for that summer season, everybody's kind of committed. We're going to take our family vacations on these bigger trips, maybe the World Series here, or if we're playing the Little League World Series and stuff like that. We kind of make the family dynamic, whatever we have going on, kind of revolve around softball for that time. So we're going to run usually smaller rosters there because we don't have onesies and twosies that are just not there every weekend. As you get a little bit older, you're going to see the rosters kind of expand a little bit. And there's a lot of different reasons on there that make that true. You could get into this role where injuries, vacations, camps, different school events, different things may pull a kid from that weekend of tournament play because there's another commitment there. You got girls that are going to be driving. You've got girls that are working. You've got girls that are taking extra classes. There's just a couple of different things going on the older that they get. And you need to make sure that you've got your team covered. As not just, you could have 16 like the gentleman said, and I'm missing a piece. I needed a backup catcher. I needed another catcher, whatever. So everybody's situation is going to be different when we talk about rosters. And I want to get into playing time when we talk about roster size. 8Us and 10Us, keep the roster smaller so you can maximize playing time. You're going to be rotating your players in. You run in 10 or 11, that's your roster. You got a lot You got a lot of flexibility at practice with 10 or 11 ball players. You can do a lot of different things. You're not having so many sit on the bench. You can. It's easy to rotate 2 in, or if you're playing 10 at a time on the field at 8U, you're just rotating that one. Everybody takes a break, and it's kind of easy to keep straight. As you get a little bit older, you might have, from my experience, I ran a 12-team roster. I tried to, and I would always have one of my catchers, if I could, somebody that could catch, that maybe not their first or second position, but they would be one of the ones that would warm up my pitchers. I'd have one of those catchers resting or on the bench, maybe coming in as a pinch hitter later on, a pinch runner, a sub somewhere. And I also have one of my pitchers on the bench. I always kept one of my pitchers on the bench so that anytime I could get them, throw a couple of pitches, hey, let's go. And if I didn't need her and I felt like I didn't need her later on in the game, I would try to get her in. I always tried to maximize as much playing time as I could. But in the early stages of the games, didn't matter the level of competition, didn't matter the tournament, I'm trying to use my roster to the best of my ability, whether the game was out of hand one way or the other, or it got comfortable one way or the other. Then I wouldn't need certain subs on the bench. I wouldn't need certain players on the bench, and I was able to do that. A lot of my buddies, they run big rosters, and I love seeing the big roster stuff because these girls are learning how to sit on the bench. And there's, it sounds crazy that you have to learn how to sit on the bench when you have these bigger rosters, but you truly do. You got to understand your role. Now, you're going to have girls that don't come off the field. That's just how it is. Then you're going to have this platoon mentality where we're going to platoon in right field today, or we're platooning in left, or we're platooning at first. We're going to try some different things out. So, the coaches are human as well, and they're trying to figure out how to maximize as much playing time as well as maximize development. And you wouldn't believe how much development actually happens on the bench. And I used to talk to my players all the time. It's like they eventually got to the point where they understood it. It didn't happen overnight of why you were sitting or hey, you're right by me on the bucket this game. I want you to hear the strategy in this game. I want you to be a part of this. I want to run some stuff through you and let you understand why thinking on this. This is why I'm thinking. This is what I'm seeing. So you got that coaching mentorship that's going on. And also you got players that, it could be a long tournament. We need to save you for this, or it's been hot. You just played back-to-back games catching. There's a lot of different scenarios that I would put in play. Well, one of my favorite things to do is to tell these players, okay, hey, this inning, you're not going in, you're not playing defensively here, but I want you to be the first baseman and the right fielder on this play. So in your mind, I want you to, here's the count, here's the outs, here's the situation, here's the base runners or whatever. You're seeing it live. What are you doing if the ball's hit to you? Okay, the ball's going over your head to right. What are you doing? I want you to run through these scenarios so that you can learn a little bit. You can talk about it some. Also, like the right fielder, or I'd go to one of my pitchers, couple of pitchers that may be sitting, and we would talk through pitch sequence here and say, hey, what are you thinking right here? What are we starting her off with? What are you comfortable with? What are you looking for? What do you want her to call for you to start this at bat? You've played her before. You've never played her before. This is the situation. This is, the part of the game where you were at. We got runners on first. We got 2 outs. We need to get this out. What are you doing here? And they're able to work through this live action right in front of them. And then there's other times where you wish you could have got everybody in and you couldn't. So there's no right way or wrong way when it comes to your playing time with your roster size. I mean, it is what it is, and you try to do the best you can. But when we talk about playing time, that is one of the biggest issues when it comes to too many teams right now. There's way too many teams. It seems like now there's like teams with rosters of like 4 or 5 girls. And they're always looking for 1 or 2, looking for 3 or 4, looking for one more dedicated. We have a core group. Well, 9 times out of 10, that core group is the 4 coaches' kids, and they're looking to build a roster around them because they weren't getting the playing time that they thought they deserved. Or they weren't getting the mound time, or they wasn't batting in the top of the lineup. So they have all these teams, and it comes. I guarantee you, 90% of them come back to, well, we didn't think she was getting enough playing time, so Joe's going to coach her this season. Joe, well, we just started us a travel team. Well, you started you a travel team. The only thing you know about it is where the bases go and that you know you need girls to play. You don't know anything about helping them develop. You don't know anything about strategy. You wanted your kid to have more playing time, even though they're probably not going to. I mean, you've stunted their growth now because you've started the team over playing time where they could have developed, they could have learned more from someone else. If your kid doesn't sit, at least at some point during their high school or travel ball career, where they sit out a game or whatever, that's crazy to me because it's a part of the game. You look at these college rosters. Look how big some of these college rosters are. I mean, where are they at now? 23? 25 maybe? I mean, rosters are deep. You can only play 9 at a time. So you got a team and a half that sits. If your kid doesn't know how to sit, doesn't know how to ride the pine, I don't know what you're going to tell her when she gets out there and it's like, wow, I've been here for 2 years and I haven't sniffed the field. But the cool thing is you're developing. You're getting better. You're able to observe. You maybe find out pitching is your calling. And go, you know what? I can be a pitching instructor. Or I can, maybe I didn't get the playing time when I was playing college ball because I was behind 2 studs. But, pitching is still my calling. I understand the mentality of pitching better because, I've done it in games. But now I'm sitting with my pitching coach. I'm sitting with the other members of the pitching staff. And we're doing different things. We're talking the mentality of the game. We're talking strategy. We're looking at setup. We're throwing this pitch, first pitch of the at-bat, to set up a pitch when we get, the 5th pitch of the at-bat. We're setting stuff up. We're trying to work that out. You could go on and be a coach somewhere. You could figure out that pitching was your calling and now coaching is your calling. So a lot of good things come from that sitting, that big roster to where we're sitting. And then at the end of the day, you run a big roster, man, if your kid wants to play, they're going to bust their butt and make it to where, hey, coach cannot take me off the field. I'm too valuable to him. It creates that competition. When there's 2 or 3 other girls that are trying to play center field or 2 or 3 other girls trying to play shortstop, and you're trying to be the best and you're trying to bat at the top of the lineup and you're trying to keep your batting average up, it creates that in-house competition that brings out the best in people. But would you run a smaller roster and there's only 1 or 2 girls that can play short, one of those 2 girls is going to play short. But when you got 3 or 4 that can play the position, the best one's going to get there. They're going to do whatever it takes to get there. So I know it got off a little bit on roster size and then kind of with the playing time and that kind of stuff, but it's just a huge topic. It's not a one size fits all. I can't say 11 is the perfect number for your 14U team and 11 is the perfect number for your 8U team. It doesn't work like that. Different expectations, different tournament ball, different competition, different locations. There's just so much that goes into it. So there's not a one size fits all. And that's why I posted it out there. And I wanted to see who would jump down somebody's throat because they said, no, 12 is the best. This is why I run 12. Everybody should run 12. Well, I mean, if you put it out there like that, you're going to get eaten alive because somebody's going to tell you why 14 is the best. But you look at that roster that Tennessee Mojo Danley Fisher has. They're rocking 14 right now, rocking 14 members on their team. That means 5's going to sit every inning. Every one of that's a roster that has 13 Division I committed athletes to it. A bunch of them going Power 5. 13 of the 14. The one that's not committed to a Division I Power 5, she's a 2025. She hadn't decided where she's going yet. So I'm not saying Division I and Power 5 is right for everybody, or if you don't make it there, you suck at the game. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, the cream of the crop. I mean, these girls are committed to go play Power 5 ball. I mean, it's the highest level you can play it collegiately, right? So they've reached the pinnacle of college softball as far as making it to a roster. And I think most of us would agree that Power 5 and D1 is as far as, scholastically or amateur softball. And then, of course, once you get into the professional, the Olympics, I mean, that's a whole nother level. I don't want to get the two confused, but I mean, these girls, they know how to sit. They run in a big roster. They know when they get on campus, they're not going to go out there and be the biggest fish in the pond. They got to earn that. But you got girls that have never had to deal with that it's going to hit them in the face when they get to college ball. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen with Michael Danley and Josh Fisher's team with Tennessee Mojo. I'm just saying they run a bigger roster because that's the need that they have. It's a lot of travel. There's a lot going on. So you need girls well rested. Your girls ain't going to be well rested if you're running 9 or 10. I don't know anybody that plays a competition at the level that they play at that's going to run a roster at 9 or 10. That's nuts. But anyway, I digress. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for this episode. If you want to leave me a comment about why you believe your number is the number and it's the best number for this age group, I'd love to hear it. I'm always open to different opinions and stuff like that. I love it. It's nothing more than dialogue. I hope I don't come off as like preaching to you and what I say is the gospel. I'm just leaving it out there for you. This is my opinion. And a lot of times I just ride the fence because I want other people's opinion. I don't necessarily, I could go either way with stuff. I mean, that's my job. One day a guy asked me, he's like, what's your role in all this softball stuff? Like, what do you do? Are you a coach? Are you an instructor? Like, what do you do? And I've kind of put it out there where I am like the liaison, or I am like the ambassador. I try to connect the haves and the have-nots. I try to get as much information from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. Because I used to be like a lot of folks that still are out there, where whatever they're used to, whatever they know, or whatever they experience, they think that's it. There's not another level. There's no more universes of softball. This is just the one universe that I'm in the game. What I see and what I know is it for everybody. And man, let me tell you, when you think you're at the highest level of whatever competition is that you're playing, there's always at least one more above you. This game is so big that you're not going to be able to touch all the levels. And that's what I was talking to Josh Fisher the other day. We were having a phone conversation. I think it was after we shot the podcast episode. If you haven't seen or heard that yet, please check that one out. That's out here as well. But we were talking, and I told him my whole thing about the popularity of the sport. The reason why the sport is as popular as it is because there's somewhere for everyone to play the game. Any athlete that wants to play the game, there's somewhere for you to go. Now, hear me out. I know you can't. Check it out. Listen, any person that wants to play the game of softball, there is an opportunity somewhere for you to play the game. 3 and 4 year olds, clinic style stuff, T-ball, coach pitch, right? Then you have 8U, and there's a plethora of levels. You can play the smallest level of rec where it's just 2 teams. And then you can go all the way up to different levels of World Series, and my World Series in air quotes. National championships for 8U, they have them, of course. And then, of course, you go all the way up through the ranks, all the way up to 18U. And it doesn't stop there. 18U has it too. You've got just, weekend leagues or what. There's always like weekend leagues or church softball or co-ed or men's league or slow pitch or women's league. So there's all of that softball. And then we have the collegiate level softball. And then we have that U23 stuff to where girls are able to still play. Not necessarily playing, they're college eligible, but they don't play in college. They start like a U23 league or a U23 team, and they go around and play other U23s. And then on top of that, you got the adult league and the men's league and the church league and the female league and the co-ed league. And I played softball when I was stationed at 29 Palms in California. We had an ammo company out there in 29 Palms, California. We played softball. Those different battalions got together. It wasn't ammo company. It was Delta Third Tracks. Delta Company Third Tracks. We had a team. And we played an all-night tournament against other teams, co-ed teams, men's teams, whatever. So there's somewhere to go. Then you have these senior leagues and that going up there. So if you can move around, if you have the physical ability to play the game, there's somewhere for you to play. That's why it's so popular. And look what college is doing, man. They are putting it out everywhere. You don't like D1, D2, D3, JUCO. You can find it. Somebody's streaming it somewhere. There's a streaming service that has it. And then if you've got Game Changer, or if you've got Athletes Go Live, or if you've got some of this other stuff, you can stream youth, tournament ball, travel team ball, and watch it. You can watch the Game Changers at least. There's video out there. Stream them live on Facebook. Stream them live on YouTube. It's out there. So if you want to play the game, get there and do it. But anyway, sorry, I got off on that. But I'm telling you, the game is thriving. The game is thriving. Look how big the women's professional fast pitch has gotten just over the last little bit here, last couple of years. Just had the expansion draft for the team out of Texas, the new franchise in Texas. So, anyway, if you haven't checked out the other episodes of the podcast, please do. They're on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google, Spreaker. Oh, man. Wherever you get a podcast at, this thing is out there. So if you found this one, you got sent a link, you saw it on Facebook, or you saw it somewhere, saw it on Twitter, man, there's a bunch of episodes out there. Next one coming up this coming week, I've got Mandy Baldiff coming up. She's with the National Scouting Report. We're going to get into some recruiting, some do's and don'ts, do a couple different things. I've got a couple other athletes that are coming up here pretty soon. And then, hey, before we know it, we're going to jump out there and boom, the season has started. I know as far as the travel ball is concerned, there's some tournaments going on now. College softball is getting going here in the next 2 weeks, with right towards the end of the first week of February. So looking forward to it. So if you like this type of stuff, man, please share it with a friend. And when you do, you tell them you love them.